everyone, I'm Don Pratt, host of Policing York Region. Join us today as we're going to chat with the senior safety team of York Regional Police, and we're going to chat a little bit about vulnerable persons. So we've got Constable Bussy Wood and social worker Chantel Bennett. Thanks so much for being on the show.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah, Bussy, you've been here before. Thanks for coming back.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Obviously, it wasn't too painful.
Well, you brought me back, so it's okay.
It was all good. And Chantel, thank you so much for being here. And just a little bit of a history. We had Chantel out to one of our events up here in Georgina, First Responders Day, and we got chatting about Project Lifesaver, and the conversation just kind of kept on going.
Yes.
And of course, it inspired the idea for
Perfect.
let's do that on Policing York Region. Right?
Absolutely.
So, I guess yours, like many units within York Regional Police, is multifaceted. It's not, when we say senior safety, that covers a large umbrella. Bussy, do you want to speak to a little bit about what that umbrella is?
Sure. Well, for us, we've added 2 senior safety officers now. So instead of 1, where it was just back in the day, now there's 2. So York Regional Police has recognized we have an aging population, a growing demographic, and a big area to cover, and we do a lot. So we now have 2 full-time senior safety officers, which is fantastic. Yeah. And then just within, 2 years ago, they added 2 lovely social workers.
So the social worker part, like you're actually part of York Regional Police? It's not an out service anymore?
Yes. So we are internal to York Regional Police, and there's 2 of us, myself and my colleague Sarah Amon. And the way that we've divided our role is that Sarah's responsible for the mental health side, so children's and adults. Okay. And I work closely with the senior safety officers, with vulnerable individuals, and for our senior friends.
Oh, wow. So it's a great partnership.
Absolutely. It's an amazing partnership, and it helps us when we're doing our job because we do a lot of home visits as well. Amongst, with our presentations and the events that we do, we're doing a lot more home visits where we're going to check on our vulnerable older friends and that. Right. So when we go into these homes now, we can go in with our eyes as, any criminality, and then also the social piece with Chantel. And it's just a nice balance. It's a nice... a nice working arrangement that we have, and I think our older friends, when we go help them, I think they appreciate that.
It does. It makes sense. I mean, you're obviously you have extensive training as a police officer, but perhaps on the social worker side.
So much more knowledge they have. Yeah, absolutely.
It's great to have that. I know that we were speaking long before this, and before social worker became part of York Regional Police, that was a wished for and wanted element. Yeah. So it's great to hear that it's, we're here. And so how long has that partnership been?
So 2 years from last June. Yeah.
Wow, that's fantastic. Right?
Feels like yesterday.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. I'm sure it does. Well, you're with a great team.
Yes.
You said getting into homes.
So whenever there's a call where police are involved, then the officers will do a report. Okay. And when it's an older adult, it comes to what we call a workflow. So then we go through our workflow, and it could be just a call to the older people, are you okay? Do you have any resources? If we're having difficulty getting in touch with them, if there's a language barrier, or, there's some more concerns that are stated in the report, then we will go and we'll do a home visit. So we'll go to their house and say, hi, this is who we are. We're here to check on you, make sure everything's okay, and see if there's, again, the criminal or social elements that we're looking for in all these cases. Are they eating properly? Are they seeing the doctor? And this is just done through just general conversation with these people. Our goal is not to remove people from their homes.
Right. We spoke about that before.
Absolutely.
In fact, it's the opposite. You
would
prefer
they
stay in their homes, right?
Exactly. We want them to be happy, healthy living as long as they can wherever they want to be. So if it's in their home, then if they are, because there are calls to the police. Well, why are we calling the police? And it's not that we don't want to help them, but what can we do to help facilitate, you being safer in your home so that you don't have to make those calls? So if there's falls, right, and we're going, paramedics are going, fire might be going. What can we do? What services can we get coming into your home now so that they can, help prevent that from happening or make it less, right? Yeah. And with the resources with Chantel and I, and then all of our community partners that we deal with within the community, we have a great working relationship with all of them. And amongst all of that collaboration, we hope to serve our people that much better.
Yeah, and obviously it does, right? And Chantel, that's where I was kind of lead to you was some of those partnerships. I mean, tying you, first of all, directly to York Regional Police through the social work piece, obviously you bring a lot of connections as well. Right, so you have other partnerships?
Yeah, one of our great partners is with Alzheimer's Society.
Yes,
And
that's a big one.
yeah, especially with our older adults, we're finding that we're seeing more and more individuals that have displayed more cognitive impairments.
Yes.
So being able to make those recommendations and suggestions to Alzheimer's Society comes in, it's invaluable.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and throughout the show we'll have some contact information flip up on the screen for both the Alzheimer's Society and Autism. I believe it's Autism Speaks.
Yes.
Because they're invaluable sites, right? And it's incredible to learn, and I've only been learning myself in recent times how much Alzheimer's, autism plays a role in our families.
And it's one of those things that they're there and they have all these resources, but until you actually need to use them, you're not aware of it, right?
No.
Unless you're in the field working and helping people, you know, until it happens to you as your family, then why would I know anything? If I don't have anyone with autism in my family, why would I know anything about it unless I'm in the schools or it's my profession? And that's what we find when we're helping people. It's like they don't realize all the resources that are out there, and some are free, some are subsidized, and it's almost like you can just see the weight coming off their shoulders, realizing, oh, there is help.
Yeah.
There's a different way of doing business. There's a different thing that can help my family, and it's just amazing to see, really.
Yeah, no, and that's part of the purpose of this show, right? We get the opportunity of taking some of this information and planting it into people's living rooms. Because we find that in a lot of different areas. I tend to lean more towards the senior piece, because in my own life that's a big part, right? We have aging parents, so. But knowing that the resources are out there, like you said, you might be aware of it. You might have been watching TV and glanced a commercial went past, but obviously you didn't make any notes because you weren't the one in need.
Right.
The day that you're in need, it's it's a blank stare.
Yeah.
Right.
Where do I go? Right. And I suppose, Chantal, from any of these sites, like from autism or from Alzheimer's, I'm sure they have places that direct you as well.
Absolutely, and like you made mention of, a lot of this information can be very overwhelming, and part of our goal is to help to explain this in very plain, simple language and help through service navigation. So sometimes we have the opportunity of being the first ones to make contact with these individuals, and in doing so we can take that time and explain, this is where you can go to for X, Y, and Z.
Right. So the people can actually have that one-on-one.
Absolutely.
Walking them through the process.
And if they're ready to, as far as doing a referral for Central Lynn, for example, Chantal has the paperwork and she's able to help fill out that paperwork right then and there, and then be able to send that referral on to Central Lynn on behalf of this family.
So that's Home and Community Care. They're formerly known as CCAC.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that they'd changed the name.
They recently changed their name.
So Lynn, okay.
Yeah. Some of the family members that we all go on home visits for, they don't have computer access.
Right.
Yes.
Or there may be a language barrier. So having that opportunity to take that time, since we're already there, to complete the paperwork saves time, it's efficient, and it provides peace of mind for them.
Well, I can actually speak to, so it was CCAC when we were dealing with them, but a phenomenal program.
Yes.
We had a wealth of support. More information than anything. It was fantastic for us. Anytime we were unsure, it seemed like it was a phone call away.
Yeah.
So it was very reassuring. It's great to hear that you have that partnership.
Yeah.
I just wasn't aware of the name change.
Yeah.
There you go. Interesting, right? Now, when we talk about senior safety, vulnerable persons, there's other avenues for it, and one that I and our volunteer team had the great ability to, or not the ability, the great affordability that we were involved with Project Lifesaver
Right.
some time ago. Fantastic program. I'm not sure who wants to take the the talk on Project
my friend
Lifesaver.
will.
There you go, Chantal.
I can jump in.
It's yours, yeah.
So Project Lifesaver has been within York Region since, I would say, 2005.
Yeah, okay.
And
quite a while.
yeah, it has been quite a while. But the way that it would work is that the participant would wear a bracelet.
Yes.
It's very similar to having a watch, a large watch on their wrist, and each bracelet has a unique frequency in it.
Yes.
So when the participant goes missing, their caregiver, their loved one, whomever the case may be, would contact YRP, and our search and rescue team would come to the last place that that person was seen. So
Right.
that could be a park, a restaurant, wherever the case may be. They set up their equipment and are able to locate them based on the unique frequency in that bracelet.
Yes.
So each participant has their own unique frequency where our search and rescue team is able to pick up and
Right.
find them.
Yeah.
It's proven to be very, very effective.
Yeah, and it's had some great success stories.
Yes.
I know that, not in recent times, but I know not so long ago, there was a case in Vaughan where they had, somebody had walked away from their home. Nobody was able to find them, and the Project Lifesaver device zoomed in on them within like 25 feet.
Yeah.
It was, and it otherwise could have ended in catastrophically.
Exactly.
Well, and we see that, right? Especially in the really warm months, but also in the winter months, right?
Yeah.
Because people will wander and they will go out and they won't be dressed appropriately. Like they're going to wander, they're not putting on their winter boots and their hat and mitts, and then going for a walk. They're going out in their pajamas in the middle of the night, right? And so they're out in the worst
That's true.
elements possible.
And on that, we're going to come right back to that, folks. We're just going to head into break. We'll be right back.
You probably know someone with autism. But you might not know that half of children with autism wander away from safe places, including homes or schools in your neighborhood. Many head straight to water or into traffic with fatal consequences. If this were your child, would you want someone to get involved and help? Parents of children with autism do. If you ever see a child walking alone, remember the 3 S's. Stop to help, seek assistance from police, stay until they arrive. Get involved and help bring a child with autism home safely. To learn more, visit missingkids.com/aware.
Welcome back, everyone. What a great public service announcement clip there. I mean, that kind of puts it in a nutshell. It brings to the table 1 in 68 children.
Yeah.
Well, I had no idea there was that many, right? So, all the better that we have these kind of units and individuals
Absolutely.
to reach out to. I just want to recap a little bit on, before we went into break, we were talking about the Project Lifesaver piece and some of how it works. Reminding the folks at home that Project Lifesaver at YRP, YRP.ca, I guess,
Yes.
is if they want more information, if they want to sign up. I understand there is a fee, but it's a very nominal, it's a very small fee. And I can tell you that up in the Georgian area, I won't speak to the rest of the region, but I know in the Georgian area we had connected with service clubs
Right.
that were helping to cover some of those costs, and they're only willing to do so. They're helping vulnerable people in their own community,
Absolutely.
right? But that video clip that we just seen, it was kind of teaching us that autism, sometimes they don't always know where they are, don't know where they're going to be.
Yeah.
So what are we looking for?
Well, with autism and our older adults too, like you're looking for, maybe that confusion, right? And something that just doesn't seem right, or something that's maybe they don't fit in where they are. right? Where they, you know, whether it's a child that walks into a bar or where there's around a lot of older people or elderly people, I'm not dressed properly too, right? And I like.
Well, no, that's true. Like I know last winter we heard of 2 different reports where it was vulnerable persons had walked out into, you know, the dead of winter and. You know, whatever had happened cognitively. Yeah. I know in the one case, the gentleman was actually removing articles of clothing, and we were talking about like it was minus 28 out.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like we, as people, we don't necessarily understand that the mind has its own path sometimes.
And sometimes individuals that have autism or Alzheimer's, they don't exhibit traditional lost person characteristics. So they're going to places where someone who might be missing might not tend to go to. So they might go underground, they might go to bodies of water, and they might not always respond to their name being called.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It makes it a little more difficult.
It does, because they don't identify themselves as being lost.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You kind of just put that together. They don't know they're lost.
No, and I think that the last part of that clip where they said, you know, stop, seek help from police, and stay is so important. And I think it just comes back to the whole idea of like bystanders. You know, you see things happening. Should I get involved? I don't want to get involved. But when you get that funny feeling in your belly and that something isn't right, they couldn't have said it better. You know, if that was your kid and they looked like they were confused, would you want someone to help? And of course you would. Yes. So do something is what our message is. You're not going to be able to solve that child's problems, but at least let us help because our job is to come and help them.
Absolutely.
Bring it to our attention.
I'm not the author of it, but you know, anyone that says that if something doesn't look right, chances are it doesn't.
Yes.
Or it's not, rather.
Yeah.
It couldn't be more true, right?
Right. And you know, just leading from that into our vulnerable person registry, Chantel can speak a little bit to that, but just as far as that registry, having the information, which Chantel will talk about, it just helps us as police do our job that much more efficiently and effectively, because if we get a call for someone, the more information we can have about them, starting with a picture. So we can actually have a picture, a recent picture of them, so then we can recognize them, you know, whether they are verbal or nonverbal. We start giving commands, maybe they're hearing there's an issue and they're not listening, and we're thinking, why are you not listening? Well, there's more to it than that.
And it makes sense that, you know, come the day that you need to have police intervention, you're not starting at ground zero, you're not starting with zero information.
Exactly.
Right.
So this vulnerable persons registry, is that what we're calling it? So this is a separate entity as well?
It is. So it's our online registry where individuals can go online, and it's specifically for individuals who have a tendency to more health risks. So individuals are more at risk for misadventure because of a health condition, medical condition, it provides individuals an opportunity to share with officers helpful information. So is their loved one verbal, nonverbal? Is there a difficulty to communicate? All of this information can be very helpful for officers to know, and it's their opportunity to share information that officers might not already have.
Well, just it's something as simple as what you alluded to before. If there's a hearing impairment, you're not aware of it. You can be out in wherever you are, yelling as loud as you want. It's not going to be very effective.
No, not so effective.
It's not so effective. So is it fair to say then that the folks that are on this vulnerable persons registry, would a lot of those then be part of the Project Lifesaver sign up as well?
Some, not always. So Project Lifesaver is more for individuals who have a tendency to wander. Whereas Vulnerable Persons Registry is a little bit more broad scope. It could be someone that is displaying a responsive behavior like aggression, sexualized behavior, and it's not limited to age. So it could be for someone that might be as upwards to 80, someone as young as 5.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Also, it's a pretty broad spectrum as well.
It is.
It is. And again, it's for that one, there's no charge to be added to the Vulnerable Person Registry.
Wow.
It's just, you know, more added information for us to be able to do our job effectively.
Well, it's all of these, you know, as we talk on many other shows, is it's all those relationships and partnerships that come together and make it all work, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure you work with York Region Ministry of Health as well, in some facets, particularly with the social working?
Yes. So we usually receive our referrals from Alzheimer's or Carrie's Place.
Right.
Also, Community Living is a great partner of ours as well.
Yeah. Yeah, no. So, so when, as far as back to the Project Lifesaver piece, somebody's outfitted with a bracelet, and that it's not a constant monitoring. It's only monitoring when there's a need to find that person.
Correct.
Right.
My understanding is each of the districts have that availability. Is that how that works?
It's available in the whole region.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's officers that are specially trained in the
Right. It's essentially if someone is a Project Lifesaver participant, then they're wearing their bracelet all times.
Right.
And then when the loved one notices that they're gone, they contact us immediately, and then that's when our whole system of searching and rescuing and finding them then is basically implemented. And you can continue with that.
Also, I wanted to add that the bracelet is waterproof.
Right.
Yes.
So the individual can wear it all the time,
Yeah.
24 hours. They can bathe with it, wash with it, whatever the case may be, which is very helpful. Ideally, we want them to keep that bracelet on at all times.
Yes. Yeah, it doesn't do much good if it's sitting on a nightstand.
Precisely,
No.
precisely.
And that's a problem. One of the ongoing issues with Project Lifesaver is if people are, uncomfortable with watches, or they don't wear a watch, or just things touching their skin, there isn't really many other options of where to put it.
Yeah.
So that becomes a bit of an issue.
Yeah.
And if they start cutting it off or taking it off.
Another option to wearing around the wrist would be an ankle. So
Yes.
for individuals
we had
who
a
are
couple that did that. I know. Yeah, we did. We had a couple. I guess it was something that was unfamiliar with them, so there was a comfort level. But the one thing with it, at least with the families that we dealt with, is that the families were very engaged.
Yes.
And they would try different things, and I can't say that we ever had any that didn't work. I mean, some of them we had to work a little differently than others.
Yeah.
Right.
And we're just a phone call away. If a family member is having any trouble or difficulty with the equipment, they can always give us a call.
And Project Lifesaver is not just York Region.
No.
I wasn't aware of that until our involvement. I kind of thought that it was just a little package,
Yeah.
but it's not by any stretch.
Many different regions are coming on. So I believe Barrie has, Peel has, Durham has at this point in time.
Yeah, and they're all using the same technology.
Correct. It's radio frequency.
Yeah, and not to be confused with, this is a little bit that I learned about it, was not to be confused with GPS technology.
Yeah.
And how it was explained to me made total sense. When you're driving downtown Toronto, you have all these skyscrapers around you, the GPS signals get interrupted, whereas the radio frequency, and in one of the cases, it was an underground parking garage that an individual was found.
Yeah.
Right. So obviously, it's a great technology.
It's very reliable.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Right. So what other avenues can we talk about with senior safety? You were talking about presentations and that. So you'll actually go out and do presentations.
We do presentations all the time wherever people want to hear me talk, and I'm pretty good at that.
There you go.
I was actually just up at Holland Landing for the first time. So
nice.
There's so many parts, like the region is so big, I think, I've gotten to everybody, but then I'll send a card with somebody, or, it was through a CHATS organization, a day program, and I have over probably 10 different names and connections with CHATS that I go and do presentations for their day programs.
Yes.
Typically, we're talking about our, keeping our seniors safe. So the common scams and frauds, and the calls that people will be getting, people knocking on their doors, just the things to remember, right?
Yeah.
Like this, and it's simple, but it's just the reminders of, if something doesn't feel right, you get that funny feeling in your belly.
That's right.
Listen to the funny feeling.
Yeah.
When we were taught as kids, don't give out personal information, don't go with strangers.
That's right.
Not much is different, really.
No, it's not.
And it's not, and it's like I say, it's always good information for everyone, no matter what age. It's just a matter of remembering, because a lot of times, and one of the ladies gave an example, she said, I let 2 men in my house, and it was like they kind of snuck up, not they snuck up on me, but they came out of nowhere, and then, we were going to here to check your water heater, and before I knew it, they were in my house, and then I was thinking, how am I going to get them out of my house?
Right.
And she said, I'm never going to do that again. And that's what we learn, and I like when people share the presentations, because we learn from one another's good and bad, right?
Absolutely.
And so don't be embarrassed, and never say never. The day you say, I'm never going to be fooled by that, is the day someone's in your home, or you're giving out personal information over the phone,
That's right.
you're confirming your credit card and giving that information, and it's just not what we want to be doing.
No, it's definitely not. And we've had the opportunity to speak with some of your colleagues dealing with frauds, and senior frauds is a real big one. And the first thing that any officer that I've encountered on that side of the fence always says, do not be embarrassed to report it.
Absolutely.
I get it. I get why you feel embarrassed.
Yeah.
But it's so important that you do report it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
First of all, you guys need to know that it's going on.
Yep.
Right? Like it's so important. I can tell you the rule, and I've preached this on this show every time I get the opportunity. In our own house, my wife's rule, we don't know you're coming, we're not answering the door.
Right. Yep.
Period.
Yep.
Absolutely.
It's because we've had the same thing. I mean, the water heater scam, it's not so big as, at least my understanding is
Right.
that it's not as prevalent as it once was. But there's still others.
Absolutely.
And that's just it, right? If you don't know the number on the phone,
Yeah.
don't answer it. If you don't,
No.
you're not expecting anybody, don't answer the door.
No.
There's no emergency in any scam as well. Someone starts asking for information and go get money, don't do it.
No, absolutely, and of course these guys, we're reminded that these folks that are doing these scams, they're proficient at their jobs.
Oh,
Yes.
absolutely.
They know what they're doing.
That's why they're there. That's why they're good. So that you got duped just means that it's just a feather in his cap. He did
Yeah.
a great job, right?
Yeah.
It's a shame, but hey, we're here to give that message, right?
That's
So,
right.
ladies, thank you so much for being part of the show. It's been
Thanks
great
for having
having you.
us.
Thank you.
Folks, that wraps up this episode of Policing York Region. For more information on the show, rogerstv.com. For more information on York Regional Police, yrp.ca. Been great having you. Look forward to seeing you again.